Outer Banks this week presents The Other Side of Fishing with Captain Marty Brill, a time when the captain shares his deepest thoughts, gives fishing advice, and entertains guests. So here he is, Captain Marty.
Yes, The Other Side of Fishing with Captain Marty, all brought to you by Red Drum Tackle. Red Drum Tackle. Marty, they're the closest ride to the point.
Closest tackle shop to some of the East Coast best surf fishing.
It's very true.
Right there at Red Drum in Buxton.
In Buxton, yes. Glad to have them as a brought to you by today. I mean, they're fantastic folks down there. Mr. Anthony, Miss Kara, wonderful people. Lots of fun stuff going on down there. And I mean, they're actually very interested in us doing a show down there at some point.
I'd love to do that.
Dude, I'm totally comfortable with it
As long as I don't
myself.
have to actually fish. Because you know one thing I'm really bad at? Surf fishing.
Surf fishing?
Well, it's not the worst fishing for me, but it's the second worst. The worst fishing is crappie fishing.
Crappie
No
fishing.
pun intended.
I was going to say, so you're just not
Crappie fishing is my crappiest type of fishing. Speckled perch fishing.
Speckled perch fishing.
So we'll talk about that later with our special guest.
Okay.
But
hey, along with this is, I mean, you got to have something to power us along today. And I mean, we're all powered by Radcliffe Marine in Belhaven. I mean, they're the largest repower center in all of Northeast North Carolina.
And not only that, they are a place where everybody in that building is a hardcore fisherman or a hunter.
Yes.
And buddy, they'll get you the right performance package, but they'll also get you on the path to some great catches, especially when you talk about speckled trout and puppy drum.
That's right. Absolutely. Ricky Radcliffe and his crew. I mean, they're fantastic folks. Good God-fearing Christians out there. I mean, and of course, whenever we go out there, we hang out, we talk, we chit chat, and we always we got to eat. We go to fish hooks.
I know. I love fishing.
I do too.
There's not a huge buffet, but they really know how to stock that thing with that pineapple cobbler.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, to die for.
I didn't even get that last time, but I'll have to get that next time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're proud to have Red Drum Tackle and Radcliffe Marine on board with us with this whole thing. So, Captain, what's been going on? I mean, we got a guest here in the studio, a fine looking gentleman here. Now, tell me about this gentleman that we got sitting here.
He spent 30 minutes in hair and makeup just to be here this morning.
I can tell.
Yeah,
Minimum.
But we have an old friend of mine that he and I fished together through the fleet at Oregon Inlet Fishing Center. He and I were on the creeking committee. We'll talk more about that maybe later.
Creeking committee?
Yeah, together. And Captain Dickie Harris of the Fantastic from Oregon Inlet Fishing Center is in the studio.
All right, Captain Dickie.
Or as Arvin Midgett used to call him, Dickford. He put an F-O-R-D on the end of everybody's name pretty much. But Dickie, how are you doing today?
Good day. It's a good day.
Why did we bring Dickie in here today?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Well, a couple reasons. One, he's been helping me all winter long with fishing reports.
Okay.
And that's, calling me, let me know, because this giant bluefin tuna bite that we've been having offshore Oregon Inlet is really something. And but Dickie, before we get to the 1,000-pound tunas, give everybody a little idea where you came from and when you started in the fleet at Oregon Inlet as a mate, and with who.
I have gotten so old I can't remember it all.
Oh, I know better.
No, I'm from Elizabeth City originally, and my fishing came early. I started with my grandfather at 4 years old, and I knew I was in love with it immediately. I wanted to go fishing, and I can remember the first time I came to Oregon Inlet. We came down here flounder fishing, and I walked around that dock, and I saw one white marlin thrown out, and that was it for me.
Wow.
That was it. And I asked my dad, would he take me fishing? He said, I'm not paying $400 to go fishing.
$400.
Wow, $400 to go fishing.
Back then, it's $3,000 now.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a deal.
So did he take you? Did he do it?
No, he did not. No, 400 was a lot of money in those days. But then, we came down. Everybody from Elizabeth City came here and worked in the summer times in the restaurants. Mm-hmm. So myself included, and I had a good friend that was mating at Oregon Inlet, and I was thrilled. So he let me ride out with him, with his captain, and that was it. That's all I wanted to do. Even though I was in college, you could forget college. I wanted to go fishing.
Man said you can forget college.
Yeah, that's it. I was hooked big time for the offshore fishing, and it took a little bit. It took a couple of years, but I made my way down there and put some time in what we call on the porch, trying to get to ride out with different captains. And I finally got my first job with Lee Perry on the deep water.
Okay.
I think that's everybody's first job.
Yeah, Dickie basically worked for several people, but 3 of them were truly legends.
Oh, definitely.
But you started out on the old deep one.
Well, he was a legend too. Nobody wanted to
question.
fish more than he did. He wanted to catch fish bad.
Yeah, and nobody went through more maze than he did either.
I made it for a month.
Did you? Oh, you only made it for a month?
I made it a month. I couldn't do it anymore.
There's a story Dickie could tell. The old Deepwater was a slow, old style boat, but he really loved to fish.
He loved blue marlin fishing.
And as you know, Justin, he had thick Coke bottle glasses, and he spoke
Marty, old boy.
He spoke with a little bit of a lisp, which I'm not making fun of that. It was what gave him his
true.
personality.
It was.
Okay.
But on one of Dickie, I'm going to tell the story, and you fill in the gaps. Okay?
All right.
And we'll move on quickly. But he was headed out one day. This boat had a cabin and a steering station down below.
Oh, okay.
And they were going out, and Dickie was kind of new, and the boat kept slowing down. You want to tell the story?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
I can tell it. It was,
right.
and I was new. I was real new. I mean, this was my first job, and he was up top then, and the boat kept slowing down and wasn't making its time it was supposed to, and he kept easing the throttle up, and he just looked all around. He said, "Something is wrong." And he came down and he opened up the hatch and he looked down into the hatch and he looked at the party and he looked back down in that hatch again. And he said, "Oh my God, we're sinking!"
Oh Lord!
Right in front of those people's eyes.
You're a brand new mate.
I didn't know what to do. Anyway, it was a simple fix, but he had to tell us we were sinking, and everybody in the crew was. We didn't know what to do.
Oh my gosh!
I had no idea what to do. I just knew we were sinking.
And then, of course, you went on to fishing with
Bob Sullivan.
Bobby. Oh, four legends. Bobby Sullivan.
Yep. And
Alan Foreman.
And Alan actually gave me my first chance to run the boat.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
Alan had Pirates Cove Marina.
Right.
And he was tied up with the head boat, and he asked me if I wanted to run the boat. Well, I had fished for 3 years. I didn't know which end of the steering wheel to hold, but I did it. I got my captain's license and had a great summer, but there were a lot of fish back then and a lot less boats, so that made it easy.
Yeah. And then you went on with Omi, right?
No, I went back and fished with Paul Spencer.
Oh, okay. So
which was a
great
experience.
Wow, you sure went to a lot of captains.
Yeah, over an 8-year period.
Kind of like Justin in the radio business.
About like that, yeah. About like me in the radio world. I went through a lot of radio stations.
And Paul was as easygoing and such a good guy. And
Agreed.
He made it easy for me to transition back to mating. Because once you've been a captain, you're going, I know more than he does.
Yeah.
Right.
But he made it easy. And then I started talking to Omi, and I saw the light of having Sundays off because you were fishing every day.
Right.
And it worked out that after I finished my second season with Paul, I asked Omi for a job, and his mate had told me he was getting off. So I spent 3 years with a tremendous amount of knowledge of fishing in the ocean with Omi. Not that the other ones didn't have the same as much, but it was the little things he did that made him a great fisherman.
He did. And those names he just mentioned off, that would be a Hall of Fame list if we had a Hall of Fame for around here. And then, of course, you ended up buying that very boat, which is the boat you're on right now. It was the Sportsman, and now it's the Fintastic.
Fantastic.
How many years is a mate, Dickie?
8.
8 years.
8 years mate.
Okay.
Which was not particularly that long.
No.
But it was.
Back then, Justin, the thing about him changing boats, back then, the mates about 2 years took most people in. Very few made it more. Nowadays, Jamie Ribel and Jeff Ribel have been together over 20 years or more. And there's others in the fleet. The mating position pays better. It's less. You go home and go to bed at night tired, but you don't have to worry about bills and rebuilds
and whether the boat's going to fish.
Or whether you're going to get a booking or not.
Right.
So now, Dickie, let's wind the clock forward a little bit. How many years have you been on the Fintastic?
Since 81.
Wow.
No, excuse me. I told you wrong. 91. 91.
That's still a lot of, really.
Over 30 years on the same boat.
Yeah. Wow. And the boat, you're in the boatyard right now. Of course, you got a friend that's out there in the car waiting for you. You know, his friend from Florida came up. Dickie said, "You know why you came up here, don't you?" And I said, "Why?" He said, "He's going to help me sand my boat."
He's going to sand the bottom.
He's been down there sanding today.
Free help, huh?
Turn him blue.
All right, so Dickie, this is, you and I have been talking a lot lately, And all right, real quick, smallest tuna is the blackfin tuna at 15 to 25 pounds. And these are the big four. Then the yellowfin tuna, 40 to 70 pound average. Then the big eye tuna, 1 to 250.
Just call them 100 to 250.
100 to 250.
Okay.
And then the bluefins could be from 70 up to 1,000 pounds, right,
Yeah,
Dickie?
we've had some close to 1,000 this year.
Yeah.
Have we really?
Been several 900 pounders caught.
Yes.
Wow.
And the thing about that is that's a winter fishery. It's highly regulated around the world, but there's people come from all over the world to do this, right?
Japan's they have a big group come on several boats that they come for 5 days at a time. They fish all 5 days if they can, but the biggest problem we have is weather in the wintertime.
So tell us real quickly the commercial versus recreational law about what you can keep at the start of the season.
Recreationally,
That's you, right?
That's me. We're allowed one giant tag per year. That's it. You can keep a fish from 73 up.
73 inches
Yes,
up. Okay.
And
How
that's
big is a 73-inch tuna?
A little over 200.
Okay,
250.
go ahead.
Okay.
And then you've got then we can keep one per day under that between 27 and 72. And one a day.
So
not
on
one
the
per
charter
person,
business,
it's
you're
one
going to
per
get to
day.
keep one big tuna
Per year.
How do you decide which charter gets to keep?
Well, my deal is it's the first one over 600 pounds.
Okay.
I don't keep one
you
under
don't play
that.
favorites.
No.
First one over 600. Okay.
Yep, first one. And as a matter of fact, the gentleman from Jacksonville, the last one I killed, he was on the boat when we killed it.
Okay.
It was the charter.
All right.
So he's had that experience, and he's been once this year, and he fought one for over 2 hours, and we pulled the hook right at the back of the boat. It was probably 800 pounds. Looking at it.
So the other really interesting thing is that normally when I think tuna, I'm thinking continental shelf, Gulf Stream, out there 35 to 70 miles.
Yeah.
But they were, some of these giants, right close to Oregon Inlet this year.
Right by the sea buoy.
Can you believe
No
that?
kidding.
Yeah.
Right by the sea buoy.
It was pretty consistent for a right good while, but you had to spend a long time, almost all day, to get the bite. But the guys going offshore were coming back in and having theirs before they caught theirs.
So my old boat, my old cat, I think it was Aaron running, caught it like a 685 right by the sea buoy. Or
He was in there close. I don't
Yeah.
know where he was that day, but
Yeah.
there's been some really nice fish caught in there. And there's been some ones undersized that you could keep too. So that made it so you got your big one, or you could keep, but then you got the commercial end of it, which is they get a bigger quota than the recreational, which is, always been that way for bluefins. And they're allowed one per day, and that's all they're allowed. They can't have one under 73 inches. They can
Okay.
have one fish. And if you
Over
go out there and
73.
say, okay, we caught a 700-pound fish, and we got $3 for him.
a pound.
A pound, and that doesn't work out to very much. When you think $2,100, you got to pay $1 a pound to cross the dock with them for the people that are packing it. And so 700-pound fish, there's $700 off your thing, off your total, and you got to split with your mates.
So you're fishing all day commercially for one bite. And if you don't catch that fish, then you go in the hole, and that money has to be tacked on to the next time you go fishing.
Geez, yes, you're playing catch up the whole time.
But this year it's been so good that I don't think anybody hasn't caught their fish every day.
Seems like I'm
Every
seeing
day.
lots of photographs, and I remember some of your earlier fishing reports, Marty, from when bluefin, it was like, hey, the season's kicked in, and they were all outside of Rudy Inlet, all south
of us.
and you were like, they're all around us right now. It's just a matter of time before they get here.
And they did.
Then next thing you know, fast forward a little bit, and you're saying some of the best bluefin tuna fishing we've seen in
Is that
years,
accurate?
if not
Do you
ever.
think this is the best bluefin
I
season?
think so too. I mean, there's been, every year we have them, but you might not get one day.
So if you haven't figured it out by now, a lot of the fishery is catch and release, because best case scenario, on your best day, you could bring two tuna, one giant maybe, and one under 70.
On the best day.
Yeah.
But if you somebody catches a 700-pound fish on your boat, that's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. isn't it?
Enough to take home.
Yeah.
But then if you catch a 70-incher that's 180 pounds, that's a lot of fish too.
Now keep in mind, back in the day, a lot of these fish were exported for big money. A lot of that has changed. But as far as those four tuna I mentioned, blackfin, yellowfin, I know what you're going to say already, but rate them as far as edibility in your book. From the most edible to the least favorite edible?
Mine's the blackfin.
That's your favorite?
That's the mildest of the tunas.
Okay.
And then of course the yellowfin.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get a bluefin and you grill him, you're going to catch your grill on fire. They're so fat.
Yeah, okay.
The fat cats is just so.
And the big eye's pretty good too, but
Yeah,
you
it's
don't see
good.
many. We don't see a lot of them. We see a
We
few.
have years that we have real good big eye fishing. It's just all water quality and bait and everything, but everything plays a part in it. And we've had the water this year, where last year the water stayed pushed down a lot. When I say pushed down, off the edge of the continental shelf, and not as good when it's like that for us. You really need for the yellowfins and the blackfins. But this year it's really, since December, it's stayed pushed in, and it'll. And a lot of that warm water that stayed up north the last 3 or 4 years that the yellowfin stayed up off of as far up as Maine, that's disappeared.
Okay.
So hopefully those fish, as cold as the water is all the way down to the Gulf Stream, may really help our yellowfin fishing this year.
Yesterday he couldn't spell biology, and today he are a biologist.
Yeah, I'm going to tell
Dickie,
one on you in a minute.
I know you got to get back to the boatyard, but a lot of folks listening know you as one of the and your boat and its history with Omi. Omi was the best tuna fisherman I ever knew.
Yep, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean the man was a smart guy. One time you probably remember these guys called me up and said, "We want to come down from Jersey and book your boat." I'm like, fine. And, it was okay. People from Jersey used to rub me the wrong way sometimes. They said, we want to fish this thing called a spreader bar. I'm like, oh, these people from Jersey are going to come down here and tell me how to catch tuna. And I was starting to heat on. They said, we want to book you for 5 days in November. I said, come on down. They did. They brought this big spreader bar with all these colorful squid. And at the time, we had birds, we had some other stuff, but spreader bars were, and that was the first time.
We didn't have them.
And these guys came down, and we went out there, and I was on the reel, and it was rough. And I put that thing on the shotgun, and it would just catch one tuna, real slow. But by the end of the day, we had 20 tunas.
Nice.
Everybody else was circling around, and Omi kept saying, what is that thing dragging behind your boat? So typical of Omi, this won't surprise you. That evening, these people brought 2 of them down from Jersey with them. So Omi was standing at the foot of my dock, and he said, can I see that thing? And we showed it to him. He says, God, I'd like to have one. They said, well, we have a spare. We can sell it to you. And Omi, I remember it, and it was a lot of money back then. He paid $125 for that thing and took it. The next morning, only me and Omi on the Sportsman are the only 2 in the fleet with those spreader bars. We went out there, and I caught 1 tuna, and he caught 1 tuna, and a wahoo clipped the whole spreader bar off. It was gone.
Oh, gosh.
And we had already sold the only other one to Omi, and so all day long, single.
Oh, no.
And that was how all that started.
And you don't leave home without them now.
No, and I could go on and on about Omi and how sharp a guy. I built 2 boats with him in my young days when I was Dickie's age back then. So Dickie,
I can't remember that far
somebody
back.
wants to go yellowfin tuna fishing in the spring. What do you got to say about the ideal time? I get asked that question a lot.
I would say mid-April on, it's almost guaranteed, that there's going to be some. And years past, we've also had the big dolphins start showing up then to mix in with them. But I would say mid-April we catch them year-round now, but, the summer months are a little tougher. But you also have
a little more variety.
Bigger fish.
Yeah, and you
can fall back on the dolphin.
Or billfish.
Or billfish. You get got a combination as you get into the July
I've been
month.
kind of telling everybody April, May, along in there, you're pretty safe. You get sometimes, one thing I always try to tell people is if you're going to go tuna fishing, try to have an alternate day. If you get blown out on your trip.
Particularly early.
Yeah.
Early.
If you were going to drive back to Ohio the next day, well, maybe you can fish the next day and drive at night or whatever, but don't put all your apples into a one-day fishing trip.
That time of year.
So, Dickie, if folks wanted to try that with you, how do you go about coming to see you at the boat, booking the boat? How do they go fishing with Captain Dickie?
Well, ideally is just bring the money. No, we have. I have a website, and it's Fintastic Sportfishing.net, and you can contact me that way. It's got my phone numbers. You can call Oregon Inlet Fishing Center, which is a great way to do it, and then on Instagram and Facebook, I post about every other day some pictures on there, and I have my phone number on there and the website.
Okay.
So that's the best way to get. And my cell phone, you can reach me about any time, which is on the website also and at Oregon Inlet.
So there's two quick questions. As if you don't get enough fishing for a living, you've been going down to Swan Quarter Way, and lately you just had a great day of puppy drum fishing.
I have been with Gray Davis, who is Hide Guides, and I've been since September. I've been with him 7 times, and we have had fantastic fishing every time. From trout to stripers. The time before last, we went striper fishing, and we were catching 6 to 10 pound stripers, not every cast, but pretty much.
Where is this now?
This is down at Swan Quarter, which is
Hyde County.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Over in Ricky Ratcliffe's.
Right
area.
now, okay. I'm
and he's mobile. He'll say, okay, we need to be over at Kashai River today. Let's put over at this place. Meet me here. And he'll drop a pin and send it to you, and you just drive right there. And he's a great guy. Got a great boat, fast, and can get in. Like yesterday, we were puppy drum fishing. I call them. There's some yearlings, but they've just started showing up, and he said it only gets better now. But we saw at least 300. They were a little bit hard to get to bite. But man, you were casting all day where you were seeing them, and that's sight casting is a thrill to me.
Right,
and it's really in light of that Cold Stone event for the trout. It's good that we got some puppy drum.
We're going to need that. Now
we're going to need it. Yeah,
we did see 2 dead trout on the bottom, but you'd figure to see some of those after what we've been through.
Right.
But the good thing about the trout fishing is, and they've taken the emergency closure, but we had a lot more trout to die this time than we have in the past because it's been 8 years since we've had a cold enough winter to kill them. And so there were a lot of trout, and it wasn't unusual. We almost every day we caught 100 up to 6 pounds. And and then we even would go do something else just to have something else to do. He has so many places that he knows to go to try to make your day. And that's the kind of guy you want to go with.
Yeah.
He wants you to catch fish. And
so that's Gray Davis, Hyde Guides.
Yep, correct.
All right.
Gray Davis Hyde Guides.
Yep.
You Google it. I think it's Hyde /guides. But if you come to Hyde Guides, it comes up.
It comes up.
There you go.
And,
excellent stuff.
And knows what he knows what he's doing.
Okay.
So he's almost as good as I am in the ocean.
Okay.
And just as modest.
So, all right, let me ask you this. Now, we've covered the spectrum of the fishing, the bluefins and everything.
In a hurry.
We have. I got one more question. Something you mentioned a little early on before we let you go, Cap. You said something about a creeking committee.
The creeking committee. And
what is that?
You know what that is. Yeah. The creeking committee in my day, when I showed up there at Oregon Inlet in '77, was generally 4 of the bigger mates in the fleet or stronger or the football.
And I wasn't in that group.
Right.
That if you caught back then, if you captured a blue marlin, caught or released, first one of the year, the mate and sometimes the captain got creeked. The creek is what they call the basin at the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center.
Okay.
So the creeking committee was the one that did that. And then if you wanted somebody thrown over, they would work by contract. A 6-pack of beer would get anybody you wanted thrown overboard. But
whether they called a blue marlin.
Whether they called anything, okay.
The story I like to tell about Dickie, and this one I'm telling. Dickie, it was one of those days where Dickie's had caught a blue marlin as a mate the day before, and it was too rough or windy that evening. We didn't creek you that day.
It was too cold.
And it was too cold, but it was a blow day the next day. So we're all down there at the fishing center, and everybody's like, did the creeking committee throw Dickie overboard? I'm like, no, it was too cold. And they're like, well, we got to throw him overboard. Now, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. So me and John Bayless and Bull planned on.
Lord,
we couldn't find that you need one person on each leg and foot, a total of 4. We could not find a 4th. So the 3 of us said, well, we can get Dickie overboard. That ain't no problem. Not knowing, young.
All right.
And anyway, we waited hid by the headboat to Miss Oregon Inlet. When Dickie came around, we latched onto him at 7:30 in the morning. and the fight was on. And he put up, and we were rolling on those paving stones.
Oh my gosh!
Getting splinters, and we get him over to the edge,
rash.
but we could not get him over the side. And then about that time, down through the parking lot at Oregon Inlet came this dually flatbed pickup truck. It had 2 tires on each side on that, an old wooden bed, flat, old truck. And some guy none of us knew was driving that. And he comes up and pulls up. And this was a mate, I'll tell you his name in just a second, from Florida. Had been driving all night long, from South Florida. Pulls up at daylight, looks over there and sees 3 people trying to throw a 4th person overboard and knows that's the international sign of a creaking going on. He gets out of his truck, goes over there, grabs the spare arm or leg that we had, and with his help, we pitched Dickie in the creek on that cold morning.
Okay.
And Dickie did not come out of the creek very happy that a stranger had grabbed hold of him. And the stranger was Dave Radke, a.k.a. Fogbank.
Oh, my gosh.
And you stayed mad about that for a very long time.
A couple of hours.
Yeah. No, a couple of decades. But anyway.
Marty's claim to fame as the creaking committee president is he'd arranged for the creakings.
Yeah, like a mafia hit.
Yeah, and he'd get
mafia.
Yeah, he'd get 4 guys together, and we'd be swinging somebody out, and here comes Marty, and he knocked 2 or 3 of us in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he thought that was funny.
And I'm also the one that invented the way when they came for me. I always, on the day we caught a blue marlin, I knew I was due to be creeked. I'd go sit a 5-gallon bucket of water on the bow of my boat and the water hose. Of course, and then when the creek committee, they'd chase you out on the bow. And so they'd kink the water hose so you couldn't spray them. But when they got to me, I'd throw that bucket of water on, I'd turn and jump over. Just not to give them the pleasure.
Not to give them the pleasure.
That was the better part of the creek to get into, too.
Yeah. But
you
anyway.
weren't up there close.
See, I figured what you might do is maybe go ahead and just like douse yourself.
Yeah.
And make it look like somebody already got you.
Yeah. No, they wouldn't fall for that.
They wouldn't fall for
I
it.
have seen it come to blows before. People,
And I've seen they bounced Dean Johnson off a pylon one time.
Oh, no.
And that's when we kind of went. So my question was, there's no more creaking goes on.
Yeah, they still
creak,
particularly a new mate.
Okay. All right. So
the Dean Johnson story that I remember is he was the captain.
That's right.
And we went to get him, and he jumped in his truck, and we thought we could, he had this little truck, and 4 of us picked up the back of that truck, and he wasn't going anywhere. But little did we know, he started revving that thing up, and we couldn't put it down because he wasn't going to stop.
Yeah.
That was.
And then we had rampages where one morning we creeked everybody in the fishing center except 2 people, and that was during when there was a tournament at Oregon Inlet. We picked Arvin Midgett up in the restaurant in his chair,
and threw him and the chair.
Threw him and the chair.
What did Miss Linda say about that now?
When we got down to the end of the dock,
I bet she did.
Papa Sheldon Midgett was down there, and we
him.
came down to creek Sheldon because we made a pact. We're going to creek everybody, and he had a billy club in his hand like we use for fish bat. And he was tapping that thing on his fish like that, and he said, "Just 6 of y'all? Is that all there is? Just 6 of you?" And we all just kind of turned around, went the other way.
So when you say you got everybody, you said everybody in the fishing center,
Everybody,
Maid's Capt. What about Minna-Meekins? Did you get?
We
Didn't mess with Minna.
Had to be in the tournament. That was the tournament.
Okay. I wasn't sure
And
when you
the
said
other person that.
Lee Perry.
No, we did not. You're right.
He got out the watermelon knife.
Yeah, he would stab you.
I heard about this watermelon
And
knife.
Buddy Davis, that day, I remember Buddy Davis.
He was serious.
He was dead serious.
Because Mike Merritt and Dean Johnson were going to get him. And
he said, come on.
I tell you what, you've never seen 2 boys back up faster geting off that boat because he meant it.
Little fun at Oregon back in the good old days. Dickie, it's been great having you in.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure. I want to come back and tell you a couple of stories about Marty that he's never told before.
Oh, you're welcome.
But I'm not going to do it now.
We'll save that for another episode.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll be right back. Capt Dickie Harris coming in here, hanging out with us for a few moments.
Enjoyed it.
Capt Marty's Other Side of Fishing, all brought to you. There's the phone ringing.
It's a charter. It's a charter call.
There's a charter calling already.
Boasting phenomenal seafood dishes, a great menu, and waterfront views with deck seating, Striper's Bar and Grill at the Shallowbag Bay Marina in Manio serves a casual, fun-filled dining experience with an Outer Banks flair. With 3 floors to choose from, you're bound to find the perfect seat for you and yours while enjoying great food and fantastic drinks. To see our menu and to catch a glimpse of the beautiful views, go online to stripersbarandgrill.com. Striper's Bar and Grill at the Shallowbag Bay Marina in Manio, where everyone's a VIP.
All right, back here with Captain Marty and the other side of fishing. I'll tell you what, Dickie Harris, like I said, I've seen him before. I think I've spoken to him maybe once or twice in the past. It's been a while, but it was really neat to kind of get a little deep dive into him and his fishing experience and everything like that, and hear a couple stories. And of course, he wants to come back and do a few more stories with you, Cap.
You know, one of the things that I loved about what he had to share was how he got started, how he paid his dues. And I'm helping a young man right now that's interested, but that part he said about being on the porch and waiting for someone to invite you to ride along and work for nothing and paying some dues, keeping in mind that the Outer Banks fleets are some of the most desirable spots in the world. If you're going to be in this for a business, that's the place you want to be. So mates come from all over, and it's competitive, and it's neat to hear how he started.
So it's important. So again, in a way, like if somebody was thinking about being in that line of work and they were wanting to start out their career getting on a boat, they got to pay their dues. They got to go sit on the porch.
Yeah. I told this fellow the other day, the best thing you can do is practice getting up at 3:00 every morning, then go get a mop, a wet mop, spray it down or dip it in a bucket of water, stand out on your porch at 3:30 in the morning and beat yourself in the head with that wet mop.
Okay.
And then after you do that, go down and sit on the porch, and you'll do that for a long time until someone will invite you along.
Okay.
And get you a little seasoned up for what's coming.
There you go. So they should go sit on the porch with a wet mop and beat themselves in the face and say that they're practicing for the ride out.
For rough weather. Yeah.
There you go. And then it might inspire one of the captains to say, well, why don't you come feel the real thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Cap, we're going to call Miss Kara down at Red Drum Tackle. You want to give her a shout?
Yes. Kara is the owner at Red Drum Tackle, and her and her husband, Bob Eakes, are old friends. I used to live with Bob many, many years ago.
Okay.
And that Red Drum Tackle's been around a long time.
They sure have. Now, we were having some technical difficulties with the phone line. We were trying to get worked out a little earlier. Let's see. Fingers crossed. Lord smiled down on us right now. We're going to hit the button, and let's see what happens. Oh, can you hear it?
Oh, yeah, it's ringing.
It's ringing. It's ringing really loud in my ear. What I may do.
Hello.
Hey, Kara, it's Marty and Justin. And we
Hey,
got...
Justin and Marty.
Huh?
Hey, how are you?
I said, okay.
We did get the technical problem worked out for now. You're our guinea pig. So we're trying it. But, off the air, you were telling me about a little bit of a puppy drum bite. Tell us about that down on Hatteras Island.
Sure. It's a low tide bite at a very slow pace. Just barely twitching the jig head and the grub tail.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 1/4 ounce redhead that my friend Eugene was using that gave me the report. So 1/4 ounce jig head, and then a clear grub tail with a black back to it and silver flakes in it with a chartreuse tip to the tail. So last year was really good with anything chartreuse.
Mm-hmm.
And a chartreuse tip or a chartreuse belly to the grub tail. So I would do anything with a chartreuse belly or tail.
And Eugene going to be mad at you now because you gave away his secret bait?
Oh, Lord.
No, yes, but, sometimes I said, can I quote you on that? And he said, yes, ma'am.
Well, you do sell tackle for a living, so I would think you'd be entitled to do that. It's amazing to me, Kara, is that we have. It's been supposedly I was worked with marine biologists for a long time that fish can't see color, but I don't believe it.
I know. I'm with you on that one. I think that they can too.
Because all my life offshore fishing, the difference between a pink and white and a blue and white sea witch is day and night.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yes.
But it's probably the same way with the grubs and the tails, would you say, Kara?
Yes, I would say that there's a variation that they absolutely see as far as shades of different colors.
And did you tell me what'd you tell me? Something else about the bite? Low water, low tide, something like that?
Real low tide and outgoing. And then very slow, working it back, very, very slow twitch.
Okay.
They seem to be moving slow.
All right. So,
and then there was quite a few sea mullets down there too.
Okay. Now and they're being caught on the same rig, or are they on something a little different?
they're on something a little different. It would be a double hook bottom rig, probably about a size 1 hook and circle hook, and then a piece of shrimp peeled and then guided on real well.
Okay. All right. Now, I know you happen to be going to an oyster roast somewhere.
Huh.
And
Up in Windsor this weekend, yeah.
Okay. Up there, and are you going to be scouting some turkeys while you're there?
Maybe.
Okay. Maybe.
Uh-huh.
Well, you can have
At a friend's house for sure. I'm gonna check it out and call to him if I can.
All right. Well, Kara, I know you're busy and you're on the road, but Red Drum Tackle, should explain to our listeners how they find you right there on the highway in Buxton.
I'm right there down as you come into the curve in Buxton, down approximately a half mile on the right-hand side in the yellow building. Red Drum Tackle Shop. We've been around for 50 years this year, and we would love to help you. We're just to the right of the entrance to the park to go to the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse.
Okay. Can't beat that.
No,
And
you
we-
can't.
Love to serve you well.
All right. Well, Kara, a website, by the way?
Say that again?
She's driving. I can
She's
tell.
driving, yeah. And do you have a website that you could leave with our listeners?
I do.
Okay.
It is reddrumtackle.com.
All right.
RedDrumTackle.com.
And then we're also on Instagram and Facebook.
All right.
Very cool.
Well, have fun eating the oysters, and thank you for taking a minute and waiting around for us to get this report in, Kara. Have a great weekend.
Okay, you do the same. Hopefully everybody has some real pretty weather and get out there and wet your line.
All right. Thanks, Kara.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye.
You're welcome.
All right,
Uh-huh.
bye.
Bye.
Speaking of that, we did not talk with Captain Dickie Harris about the speckled perch bite that's going on in Southern Shores canals. That's big news.
No.
Crappie fishing.
Yeah.
Those people will probably string us up for, if we give that information.
Well, we'll hold on to that for another day. I know that we'll have some opportunity to do that.
But it's the time.
You're right. Now, I do want to, if you don't mind, Cap, before we take a quick break, I do want to give a shout out to a new sponsor of you. If that's okay, can I do that?
Sure.
Give a shout out to
Always
them?
glad to have a new sponsor.
Frisco Woods Campground.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, when I was down there talking with them the other day about some different things, they said, I just mentioned the captain, and Miss Stacy down there was like, we want to be with the captain. And I said, well, I can put you with the captain. So I got her all situated. Let me just find a quick little tidbit of information regarding Frisco Woods.
I've been wanting to get down there myself. I want to take my granddaughter down there. I have 2 granddaughters, but I'd like to go out. Remember, I mentioned that when you shared that good news with me. I'd like to go down there and before it gets too busy. And,
of course.
And it's sort of camping, but it's not camping. You're in a fixed dwelling. They're really nice. And, it's in a perfect place for fishing, beach combing, treasure hunting.
Yes, absolutely.
You might even find the lost collie because, there's been some clues that there might be down that way.
That's true. And the lost will be found. And it can be found possibly at Frisco Woods. I mean,
that's a great segue.
50 years, same family owned it for this last 50 years. You can tent, you can pitch a tent. They've got RV, they got primitive camping cabins. They've got, electricity, water, free hot showers, a swimming pool. And of course, it's all overlooking the Pamlico Sound, and it's beautiful views out there. I went out there last year for a little bit and helped out with the fishing tournament that takes place out there, and great time. And Miss Stacy was very happy to have the opportunity to be a part of this. So you'll hear more about them in the near future. But again, wanted to give them a quick shout out. Quick break, Marty, and then we'll make another phone call.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
When it comes to general maintenance or major modifications on your diesel vehicle, look no further than Wanchi's Off-Road Diesel Performance in Kill Devil Hills. Master mechanic Ryan Walker developed the plan for having his own auto shop over 20 years ago, and today he owns the premium diesel performance powerhouse of the Outer Banks. To have him and his crew take a look under your hood, give him a call today at 252-715-0025 or find him on social media. Wanchi's Off-Road Diesel Performance, the diesel performance powerhouse of the Outer Banks.
All right, we're back here, Marty. It was good to talk to Miss Kara down at Red Drum Tackle, but now we have on the line with us Captain Jessie Anderson.
Another Hattersman.
Another Hatters. Yeah.
Ties up right there at Hatters Harbor and the Carolina Girl, but that's not where she's at today.
No.
She is down in the Florida Keys. Good morning. Well, good afternoon, whatever it is in the Key, whatever time zone you're in. Good day, Jessie.
Hello. How you guys doing? It's middle of the day and it's beautiful here.
Okay. So which key are you at? I never can remember.
I'm in Big Pine Key.
Okay. You're a big.
It's about 30 minutes from Key West or so.
Okay. So is Big Pine below the 7 Mile Bridge? I do everything by the 7 Mile Bridge. Is it south of that?
Yes.
Or down?
I'm below the 7 Mile Bridge. The 7 Mile Bridge is kind of like halfway.
Okay.
And I'm halfway between there and the Key West.
So I'm always fascinated by watching the pictures. One of the things you're doing down there is daytime sword fishing. And how big was the swordfish I saw y'all posted pictures of? I don't know, what was it, a week or 10 days ago?
Yeah, that one. Well, we really have no way to weigh them just because at the dock, but we put it into a formula, and it's pretty accurate because we weigh the meat little by little.
Uh-huh.
It appeared the formula says 404.
Wow, that's a good swordfish too. So you go out there and you and your friends and you go out there and you're deep dropping, correct? You're fishing down. How far down?
1,500 to about up to about 1,900, really.
Holy cow!
Wow.
So I used to charter fish out of Marathon and Key Largo, but how far is that from the dock? What kind of run is it to that depth of water for you?
Well, there's a couple different directions we run, either down towards Key West or down towards Marathon, where the shelf is a little bit better conditions. And it's about, from the time we leave the dock, it's probably about 23 miles, something like that. 22.
Wow, that's not bad.
Not at all.
Okay.
But that's a long ways compared to the reef fishing.
Yeah, that's a good point. The reef fishing's what, 1.5 miles, 2 miles, something like that, 5 miles max?
5 and under. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you've been doing I saw some other stuff. You've been catching a few snappers, a few groupers. When do you do that? On the way in or way out?
No. On the days that we don't go deep dropping, you really don't need a big boat down here to have a good time. We just got a little center console or a little flats boat, and we go and find some holes and different things, and that's where we're finding the snappers.
Wow.
Groupers out of season. We catch them accidentally, but they're there.
Yeah.
But they lots of let's see, we've had mangrove snapper, we've had lane snapper, we've mutton snapper, you name it. Yep. Every snapper there is, and they're all excellent tables there.
They sure are. Although I'd trade them all for the grouper, but you can't do that right now. So, wow. So your travel, your destination is quite different from a lot of people are going all the way to the Pacific, Costa Rica, Mexico, all those places. But you're right there in my good old home state of Florida, and you may or may not be aware, up on northern Key Largo is the Ocean Reef Club, and I chartered out of there and had some great memories there. But Marathon, a little place called Knights Key Campground on the north end of the 7 Mile Bridge, was there forever. And that's where we went every year for our family vacations. And we fished around the 7 Mile Bridge. That's why all I know is the 7 Mile Bridge.
7 Mile. See, I never went any further south than Homestead when I lived down that way a little bit. I never made it to the Keys or anything. So where you're talking about right now, I have no idea. I've only ever seen photographs. So
it's beautiful. We had some friends over on Summerland Key. It's the only place that you can go by car, by boat, or fly in. There's an airstrip right behind some of them houses.
Wow. And
we had a friend that went up, and he, just on the phone, videoed some stuff. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, you would not believe how pretty it looks like. Well, we're actually further down than a lot of the Bahamas if you look at the map. So beautiful water here. Beautiful.
Do you ever get over on the other side in the Gulf? Do you do much stuff over on that side?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I'm a
America.
bottom fishing freak, and I like going to the wrecks on the other side. And there, it's unbelievably good fishing over there.
Wow.
Great fishing.
So when do you come back, and when do you start up your season back in Hatteras again? You are coming back, right? Jessie?
I think I'm coming back. Yeah, I'm coming back. We start May 1.
Okay, you've been fudging a little bit last couple times I've talked to you about that.
I can't help it. I have a hard time coming back. It's I don't have to deal with snow and cold.
Yeah, you
and,
sure don't.
I was about to ask.
I'm living in flip-flop shorts and T-shirts. It's hard to come back.
Yeah,
I bet it is. Now, what's the temperature down there today?
76.
76. Not bad. It's upper 50s, mid to upper 50s, but it's blowing up here. It's blowing. It's blowing, Cap.
Yeah.
It's blowing.
Yeah.
So
It's not bad down here. I think the month of January blew worse than any I've ever seen, but it wasn't. I mean, we still had plenty of good days fishing, and I fussed about it. I had friends calling me, and I was like, "Oh man, it's cold here. It's like high of 72 and a low of 68," and they're like, they were laughing at me. But
yeah. Well,
I love it.
at my house last week, it was nine. If that makes you feel any better.
9.
During that snow, it was 9 degrees.
Yeah, see, I believe Jessie, she missed the snow that Hatteras got. I mean, Hatteras, with that
They got
first one in
nailed.
January, they got nailed hard. They got more snow than any of us.
Where's your boat, Jessie?
guess
Where's
they
the
did.
Carolina girl at?
It's in Wanchese, up on the hill at Spencer's.
Okay, it's dry.
Got a little bit of work going on it, and then when I get back, I'll finish up that work and get it back in the flipping Hatteras.
All
I don't
right.
want to have to worry about it, and to me, it's easier to have it on the hill and
Oh, absolutely.
not have to worry about anything.
Yeah, especially when you're in the Keys catching 400-pound swordfish and snappers and groupers.
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to worry about anything else either.
Uh-uh.
She ain't coming back, Justin.
Nah, I think she's gone. I think we
Anybody
lost her,
interested
Cap.
in buying a charter boat,
She broke off.
this would be probably the time to approach Jessie, it sounds like.
There you go.
All right, Jessie. Well, just in case somebody still wants to book the boat, give us a little contact information.
You can reach me by phone, 757-560-1336, or you can also book me through Hatteras Harbor Marina online. And I'm taking bookings for this year, and we're filling up pretty quick. So if you want to go, give us a call.
All right, Jessie. Thank you very much, and have a great end to your winter season.
And we'll see you soon.
Yes.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
I think she'll be back. Maybe
She'll be back for one season, I bet.
one season. Oh,
I have inside information.
Oh, you're Cap Martin, the insider, the insider's guide to charter fishing.
Telephone, telegraph, or tell Marty.
Telephone, telegraph, or tell Marty. Well, Marty, we're going to take another quick break. Then we're going to come back to the phone, and we're going to make another phone call. Then we'll see what we're going to do to wrap this thing up. So we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Teach's Lair Marina in Hatteras Village is the closest spot on the Outer Banks to the Gulf Stream. Just inside Hatteras Inlet, Teach's Lair is fully loaded with bait, tackle, ice, snacks, and drinks for your fun-filled day out on the water. Want to get rigged up to catch the big one? Lee and the gang in the tackle shop can outfit you to catch whatever is eager to get hooked. To see the marina, the tackle shop, or to book a charter, go online to teacheslair.com. Teach's Lair Marina in Hatteras Village. Your fishing venture awaits.
All right, Captain, we're back. The other side of fishing with Captain Marty, and we just talked to Jessie Anderson, Carolina Girl Sportfishing. She's down south in what do we say?
Big Pine Key.
Big Pine Key in Florida, sword fishing.
And we talked to Captain Dickie Harris out of Oregon Inlet. And
Yep.
he's in the boatyard.
Yes.
In Wanchee, he's never your favorite place to be.
No,
With
but
his friend from Florida who came up strictly to help him sand his boat. That's a real friend.
that is a real friend.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Well, I have on the phone right now another person from Hatteras Island whom I consider to be a real friend.
But would he help you sand your boat?
You know what? I think that if I really needed him to, he would. He would probably, debate it with me for a little bit. But I think if I absolutely needed his help, he would help me. And that is a gentleman by the name of Aaron Midgett, teaches Lair fame. Aaron Midgett. Aaron, woo! Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. Now, would you help me sand my boat if I needed you to?
Where's this boat located? You got to get me out of Hatteras Village.
Yeah. See, now if I'm willing to bet that if I, persuaded him with 9 rounds at a golf course here, at Seascape, maybe that would bring him out.
Does he know?
For 9 rounds, yeah.
See, yeah, look,
Definitely.
there we go. So there we go.
Does he know that your boat's 36 inches long
Oh,
and it floats in your tub at home?
no. I mean, thanks for you burst my bubble, Cap.
Yeah.
Aaron,
Well, we can knock that out in no time then.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
no time. Aaron, how's everything going today?
Everything's good. The wind's falling out. A little breezy earlier, but wind's falling out. It's absolutely beautiful right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a good day. Got a couple commercial guys went out, and actually one private boat left at about 10. So he's going to try to get on a bluefin possibly, which has been really good here the last couple weeks, and maybe some blackfin. That's what he was shooting for. So
Yeah.
pretty day.
It's a nice mix on the bluefins because as we talked to Dickie about, you keep one charter boat, keep one a day. There's a lot of different rules, but the blackfins, and that's Dickie said that was his favorite eating tuna.
He did. He said
it was
that.
the mildest of the
It's
tunas.
my favorite eating tuna as well.
Okay.
There's another one. Okay.
All right.
I don't know that I've ever
Yeah.
had a piece of blackfin, to be honest. If I have, I don't know it.
Oh gosh.
I've
yeah.
always had yellowfin.
Well, they catch a lot more blackfins in Hatteras than
It's
they do
true.
at Oregon Inlet.
It's very true.
They're famous for
Correct.
blackfin fishing.
Correct.
So, Aaron, question I had, I also heard a report from down your way. I mean, this report's close to a week old of a couple big king mackerel, but is there still king mackerel around down that way?
There's a few, but quite frankly, everyone's really just been targeting the
Right.
big bluefins
Right. Okay.
when they've had the opportunity to fish. I've seen a couple, Marty, but I don't know if I would call it, king fishing per se.
Okay.
Everyone's targeting bluefins. It's going fishing, and if that's not what they want, that size of a fish, then the blackfins.
And the blackfins.
Which we've had very good bites of both. So
Very, very cool, Aaron. Very cool that you got all that going on. I mean, now you and I were talking the other day when I came down there, and you graciously, it was just great because I went down to do some other business other places. But one thing I always do, Marty, I'll tell you this. One thing I always do when I go down to Hatteras is I always go to Teach's Lair first and work my way north.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Teach's is in one of my spots. I've always enjoyed going down and hanging out with Aaron. And I went down there to talk to him, and I asked him, I was like, look, hey, we might give you a call on Marty's show. He said, okay. One thing that Marty was involved with last year, a couple things, was the Hatteras Village Offshore Tournament. Now, when is that tournament?
So, yeah, the Hatteras Village Offshore Open, it's May the 14th through the 17th.
Okay.
So, the sign up, you can sign up now. And you can, if you do sign up now, you can actually sign up for the full thing and get a little discount if you choose to go that route. But, yeah, the 14th through the 17th of May, we had 69 boats last year. And we're looking at that same number, slightly more. It's honestly whatever the village can hold.
Right.
Okay.
With the lack of slips, 70 is about our max, and we feel very confident we'll be there again this year.
I knew one thing. I went down there for the first time last year to help with the scoring and a little bit of broadcasting and a little bit of media work. I had a blast. It was really fun. I had a blast at the Marlin Club tournament too. I forgot. It's a different world in Hatteras. It's quite a bit more laid back, and people are just so much more low key down there. But the Hatteras Village Offshore Open was getting back to my roots. In fact, when I went down the road a couple weeks later for the Marlin Club tournament, I got thinking about it. And the day I showed up on the Outer Banks in 1975, I went to the Marlin Club, and I actually got a job as a second mate on P.D. Gwaltney's boat, which was a Warren O'Neill built boat. Called the Islander at the time. But when I was down there for the tournament, both of the tournaments in Hatteras last year, people came that were in that tournament. That was 50 years since that happened.
Wow.
So I went back full circle back to where I spent my first summer living out of the back of my van. Literally, I really did. Right there in Hatteras Village, and people took pity on me and fed me, and and I lived.
Mark, don't let Marty fool you. He did an amazing job too, doing what we asked of him for the tournament. He did a great job.
It was fun. I can't wait to get
and
back.
You're right. The laid back vibe here is
A lot
different than most places. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I remember my first 2 years in Hatteras when I decided to go up to Oregon Inlet. Somebody said, "You sure about that?" I said, "Yeah, why?" And they said, the next summer we went 74 days in a row. My very first summer before there was a Pirates Cove Marina, everything was out. And I was like, holy cow, get me back to Hatteras, because you could have a little fun in Hatteras. And you'd have a day off when the weather was pretty occasionally, not at Oregon. It was go. So I loved it. I loved getting back. And I was really pleased to see that the atmosphere is still the same way in Hatteras. But
we loved having you, I can tell you that.
Aaron, I wanted to share one other little thing with you because I know you have some backcountry, I call them backcountry guides, inshore fishermen. But we got a really good report from Captain Dickie Harris on the Fintastic when he was here. He's been, 7 times over to Swan Quarter. And I'll tell you why I'm bringing this up. Over to Swan Quarter, and he was out there yesterday, and they caught 14 nice puppy drum, including several over slot. And this is good because with the trout deal, they were glad to see the drum biting. But the reason I'm telling you is because as a crow flies, it's not very far from Teachers Lair Marina to Swan Quarter, straight across that sound. So that might be something.
No, it's really not.
Yeah. It might be good news. I don't know. Is there anything going on in the sound right now on your side?
Most of the boats are out of the water. So I'll put it this way. There's not a lot of people trying just generally because there's not that particular type of fish for us this early in the season. Now, this past week or two, as the weather's been beautiful, warmed up quite a bit, might help it out a little bit. But
well, let the guys know.
Maybe that's the sign of, the reason. Maybe that's why they were catching them over there.
Yeah. Gray, what was his name? Gray Davis Guides.
Hyde Guides.
Hyde Guides. You can have one of your captains call him. He's a really nice, easygoing guy. So I want to pass that on.
All right. Cool.
Well, that's great news. Maybe we can get into it a little earlier.
Yeah. Yes. Hopefully.
So, Aaron, let me ask you this before we let you go. And we appreciate you, answering the phone and talking with us for a little bit today. If people want to get on a boat down there at Teachers Lair Marina and do a little fishing, how do they do it?
2 ways. You can call us 252-986-2460 right at the marina, and we can help you out that way, get you on a full day offshore, half day inshore, a nearshore trip. Or you can just jump on the website, which is teacheslair.com. And you can book the charter directly on there. It's pretty simple. It goes directly to the captain and us both, and you can knock it out yourself online without having to talk to anybody. If that's what you'd want to do, by all means, you can call us also. So.
Well, see, I want to encourage everyone to call you because not only do they can either talk to you and your, enjoyable self, they could maybe talk to Victoria, who loves talking to everybody. And
without a doubt.
And if they're lucky, they may get a hold of Lee down in the tackle shop.
That's true. That's very true. And I did forget to mention one other way. Feel free to call these captains as well. Jump on the website. You see their phone number that way. You can call them direct. They'd love to talk to you direct if you want to get more of a, better idea of what you're getting into.
Right.
So
I agree.
That's also a great way.
That's a strong point because however you book your boat, you need to build a little bit of rapport with the captain before you show up at the boat. That's the best way of doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always suggest calling the captain, and they appreciate hearing from yourself.
Right. Okay.
Very cool, Aaron. Very cool. Hey, man, look, I appreciate you talking with us today for a little bit, and don't think it's going to be the last time you talk to us. And, I
hope it's not, and I appreciate you guys more than you guys know.
Well, we appreciate you, and I know that I can't wait for the next time I go down to Hatteras to pay you a visit and maybe give you a hug. Can I have a hug next time I'm down there?
We'll see. You know how we feel about that down there.
It's a whole conversation we had.
I did get one on Victoria earlier. I got one earlier from her.
Okay.
She's going on vacation for 2 weeks.
That's right. She's heading to Costa Rica. I forgot.
That's right. Lucky girl.
Yeah. Well, hey, Aaron, thanks a lot, man. You have a good day, good weekend.
Thanks, Aaron.
Justin, thank you, buddy. Marty, I'll see you in a couple months, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.
Justin, do you know who else is going to Costa Rica?
Who else is going to Costa Rica?
Everybody but me and Justin.
Everybody. He's absolutely right.
I can't believe how many people. That's the new spot.
It is. Yeah. It definitely is. I mean, I think are they in the third leg of the the tournament right
I
now?
think so, yeah, of the Triple Crown.
The Triple Crown, yes. I always want to call it the Los Sueños Open, but I don't know why that keeps coming to my mind. The Triple Crown, yeah, because I know John Boy's been down there. And there's a whole crew. I mean,
a bunch of people down there.
Yeah, I think Joey Belton is down there right now, and he's actually, when he gets back, I was talking to his wife the other day, he's going to be back for like a little while, and then he's going straight to the Bahamas. So, I mean, there's a whole crowd that from around here. That was the one thing my dad always told me when he was, fishing all the time. He told me, he said, my dad does a lot of teak work on the boats, and he'll go to Costa Rica or to Aventura or wherever. He'll go down to the Keys and he will be at a marina and he'll be pushing teak or pushing sandpaper on the tow rail of or sand and covering boards or whatever on a boat. And lo and behold, here comes somebody down the dock and they're like, "Hey, Mitchell." And he's like, I go to all these marinas. I see people that are regulars at Pirates Cove or Oregon Inlet or Hatteras Harbor or whatever. So it's a big family. It's a big community. So it's really cool.
I could never do it. No way. I painted everything on my boat so I wouldn't have to do teak.
Yeah. Well, Cap, I think that's going to do it for us today. This is another edition of The Other Side of Fishing with Cap and Marty. Very, very much fun. But there's more fun to be had, of course, just looking down the road a little ways, Cap. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff on location throughout this year. And anybody that wants to jump on and sponsor the show, you can get up with me, Justin, at OuterBanksThisWeek.com. You want to be a part of the Captain? We'd love to have you be a part. And just looking for all the fun to have in the near future, Cap.
Yep, and we are going to just take it one step at a time, and got a big fishing season right in front of us. And come along for the ride.
All right, we're going to head on out of here. Thanks, Cap.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to The Other Side of Fishing with Captain Marty Brill. All brought to you by Red Drum Tackle. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app. Just search Captain Marty and share this episode with your favorite fishing friends.